Hello, friends. Welcome back to Cori's Corner. Thank you for tuning in. For those who are new here, this is a podcast where I share strategies, tools, and knowledge to overcome life's challenges and get through life's experiences. Today, I'm going to explore the benefits on undertaking solo adventures. I find that an excellent opportunity for growth and for self discovery. But before we get into this, I will pursue with my regular disclaimer and share that the following information is provided for educational or informational purposes only, and it should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice or a consultation with a healthcare professional. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any healthcare decisions or to obtain guidance about a medical condition, and never disregard any professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of any of the following content. All right, so getting into things, I find that I have a lot of fun by myself. I really enjoy being social. I really enjoy spending time with other people. That being said, I have learned, I have grown to appreciate time that I spend alone, and it wasn't easy at first. I felt very uncomfortable in the beginning. I felt unsure. I felt a little scared. And as I did it more and more, I came to learn that there are certain things that I very much prefer doing on my own, or that I simply enjoy also doing on my own if I don't have anybody else to accompany me to do it with. For example, I really enjoy going on bike rides. I pretty much cross country ski solo 99. I don't think I've ever skied with anybody cross country. Downhill, I often go with a friend, but I've also done that by myself as well. And I'm also comfortable with shopping by myself. I'm comfortable going to the grocery store by myself and also traveling. Traveling is something that I realized that I am very comfortable undertaking on my own. It is still sometimes daunting, especially going to a new place that I haven't visited before, but I very much enjoy doing it on my own. I think it's a really nice opportunity to also try something new. A lot of people have different interests and preferences, and by deciding to doing something on my own, I own it as my own and I can go at my own pace. I can set my own limits. I can try something that other people may not in my surroundings may not want to do, and that's completely okay, but to not deprive myself of the opportunity to do something that I care, that I'm passionate about, or that I'm interested in because somebody isn't able to join me, I'm very proud of myself for that. I think it's really cool when somebody's able to be comfortable spending time on their own and doing things that they enjoy on their own. It's a very, I think it's a very rich experience where you can learn about a lot about yourself. I find that I've learned that I can do a lot more things than I initially thought of. I found out that I am a lot stronger than I ever thought I was. And I learned that I have certain preferences when I'm the one making decisions, when I'm in the driver's seat and choosing the itinerary or choosing how long or how intense I'm doing something. I realize that there are certain things that I prefer, that when I let others take the lead more, or when I'm doing something with other people and I'm following the group a little more, I'm changing my pace to accommodate other individuals, which I'm completely okay with. But when you're on your own, it's a nice opportunity to learn what you prefer, what you can really truly do. And I think it's a really cool time to see new things and to try new things that you didn't know or wouldn't know otherwise if you had let the opportunity to do something slip by because you didn't have somebody to go with you. And one of the biggest things that I've done on my own was a trip that I planned out west in the Rocky Mountains. I have been very interested in visiting there for about a decade, and I had never been that far. And there was a lot that I was interested in seeing and doing, and it came to a point where coordinating with others became very challenging, and I postponed this trip for well over 5 years. And I'm at some point I was like, "You know what? Whether somebody can join me or not, I'm doing it." I didn't care. I was fed up with trying to coordinate with other people and it not working out or it being a little bit more complicated. So I was able to choose everything that I wanted to do. I did most of the things that I wanted to do. I had some limitations, of course, but that's okay. And I learned a lot about myself. I enjoyed meeting new people. I find it very fun when I'm traveling to talk to other people. I am a fairly introverted person and often shy, but when I'm on my own, I feel like I have less to lose and I'm a little bit more comfortable talking to somebody that I don't know. And I enjoy talking to the locals, learning how they do things where they're from, learning about the culture, and also talking to fellow travelers. It's very nice to connect with people who have similar viewpoints and interests as you. At the same time, it's also very enriching to meet people who see things very differently from you, if that is the case. I When I decided to do a hike in the Rockies when it was bear season, I realized that I needed a buddy. I encountered an obstacle and I'm like, okay, it's not really safe for me to hike this trail alone. And I decided that I would randomly ask somebody right then and there as I got to the trailhead to the lake and to pair myself with somebody to just or join a group to do this hike with somebody so I wouldn't do it alone, mainly for safety reasons for the bears. And I gained a friend out of it. I interacted with a lot of people. It was a couple hour trek up, and as we were going up there were different people that would pass us or we would pass them. Honestly, most people would pass us because I was very lucky to find somebody who wanted to go at a similar slow pace than me, which is just to just enjoy and to not push too hard. And it was really fun. It was fun to take that time to learn about this stranger, this random person that I met just that morning. And it was a nice way to bond, and it was interesting and neat because I came to realize that we had a lot in common. There are certain things that she was from the United States, I'm from Canada, so there are certain things that she didn't know about the country that she was visiting that I was able to educate her on, and there are certain things that she educated me on that I didn't know about where she's from, and it was just a lot of fun. I don't really know how to put into words how enjoyable it is to meet somebody new in a platonic way and with no ulterior motive than just converse, than just get to know somebody, than just spend time with that person or to let time pass. And it's really really nice. I try to put myself in these situations which are, yes, uncomfortable at first, but very, very much worth experiencing. And I found that in doing so, I get to spend time with somebody else. But then when I don't feel like interacting with another person, I get to spend time with myself. I get to spend some time alone, which I find is a very important thing to do. I think there's a nice balance between spending time alone and spending time with other individuals. And I may be wrong. I haven't read any studies on this or anything like that, but I feel like nowadays, compared to as a millennial, compared to the 90s, people are more connected than ever. And I don't know how connected they are within themselves. I don't know how well people know themselves. I I wonder how comfortable people are spending time alone. And that would be maybe just reading a book or going to the movies alone or not scrolling on it, even not just no interaction with another individual. Um, I forget where I was going that with that, but with no interaction with another individual and just taking time to collect yourself and to sit with your thoughts, sit with your feelings, which I think I mentioned but in a previous episode is one of the most uncomfortable things to do, but it's so important to do. It's so helpful in for somebody's well-being to take some time every now and then, and also ideally regularly, to sit with your thoughts, to sit with your feelings, and to not let them, to not drown in them, but to also not let them kind of fade away, to connect and to check in and say like, I've been feeling a little bit more anger lately, or I've been feeling a lot more happiness lately, and just using that as information and then moving on with your life, processing that. I find that when I do that, which I intend to do at least once a day, I don't succeed every single day, but in doing so, it's liberating. It's freeing and I feel lighter. It's uncomfortable and it's heavy and difficult in the moment, but afterwards it's very much worth it. It's like a spiritual or mental and emotional exercise or workout. And by doing these things, you get to learn more about yourself. And I think it's cool overall to overcome that discomfort. I find that there's a potential to become a better and stronger and higher level of self when you overcome discomfort. I once heard that growth is uncomfortable or something like that. I don't know. But if that's what the saying is, it's very, very true. And it's also very rewarding. It's a fruitful process where that discomfort only lasts for so long. And what you get out of it is something that stays with you that much longer. And in doing so, that's how you get more resilience. That's how you gain more resilience in your life. And I really, really like the theme of resilience. Brene Brown is somebody that I listen to a lot. I've listened to a lot of her I've listened to a lot of her books or read her books. I listened to them. There were audiobooks, but also her talks. Brene Brown talks a lot about resilience and growth. And I've learned that that is something that is important to tap into, that will follow you for the rest of your journey. And by overcoming challenges on your own that you would potentially only face when you're doing something on your own, like I don't know, how many times have I traveled and at the airport and I got lost? I got lost, or I didn't have somebody to watch my stuff. And it's so annoying, but so worth it because I know that no matter what, I can overcome things by myself. Even if there's that one time where somebody is not with me, I don't need to rely on another person. And it just makes me feel that much better about myself. It's, it's knowing that gaining evidence of having overcome and challenges and face uncertainty on your own, that once you do it once, you can do it again, and that you can do it, and that you're much stronger than you think. And it's a really good thing to be able to have insight on because I find that I'm able to do more in life, that I limit myself a lot less. And even if I do something with somebody else, I can be that grounding, that rock where I'm like, you know what? Even if that other person may not have the skills or knowledge or the experience to do something that I want to do, I feel comfortable within myself to do it with them if things go awry. And that's typically how my brain works, which is something that I'm working on. But I always anticipate something going wrong. And that's typically how it can be easy to back out of things when you're doing things on your own, when you're planning on doing something on your own. But for me, I figure, you know what? As long as I plan, which I do a lot, as long as I plan, I am okay. As long as I'm equipped and I have the things that I need or that I think that I need, I feel okay. I don't know if having done Girl Guides as a kid contributed to that. I also don't know the difference between Girl Scouts and Girl Guides. I would like to think that doing that did contribute to that ability that I have to undertake these things on my own. Another neat thing about doing things alone is connecting with yourself. And a lot of times when I'm doing something on my own, it's not, sorry, it's not sometimes, it's often in nature. It's like I mentioned earlier, it's a hike, it's a bike ride, it's a run, or I'm skiing. And by not having to interact with somebody else, I'm fully immersed in my thoughts. I'm enjoying the moment. I'm very, very, very mindful. My presence is as high as it could be, and I'm connecting with my environment. I'm interacting with my environment. I'm appreciating my environment and just enjoying the simple little things in life that are free and given to you or that are already accessible to you. It makes me feel good, for one. On another note, I very much enjoy it. I get to appreciate life and what life gives us even more. And although things may be difficult at times and life is not perfect and the world is very imperfect, to enjoy the simplicity and the beauty that life offers. For example, when right now, it's spring, and to enjoy the leaves growing on the trees and to enjoy flowers blooming and to enjoy this leaf turning over from winter to fall. While yes, I will have enjoyed winter, which if you haven't listened to episode 2, you should listen to it. I used to hate winter, now I love it. And then now that winter is done, I enjoyed that. I get to appreciate what spring has to offer to me. So I take my bike out, I lace my hiking boots, I prepare my hiking backpack, my little adventure backpack as I like to call it, and I embrace what this season has quite literally has to offer me. And that's how I found more happiness in all the seasons of life, is to embrace what the moment has to offer, is to seek what is good out of the moment, whether that's a difficult experience or I'm stuck in traffic, or if it's really more generally an actual season. It's yes, the summer can get hot sometimes, but I get to do all these activities and we have so much sunlight and I get to grow some fruit and some herbs, and it's focusing on those positive things a little bit more and appreciating those that I find helps with my overall mental health and well-being. And it's that mindfulness that I find so important. And maybe one day I'll make an episode on mindfulness. And if you don't know anything about mindfulness, I strongly encourage you to. I'll probably give some references um to consult, explaining what mindfulness is and how beneficial mindfulness is to one's health and well-being. Another thing that I really enjoy that I really enjoy when I spend time alone or when I do things on my own, I tap into my inner child. And it's so fun. It's so fun to just play. It's so fun to let your mind wander and to imagine and to just let it be free. It's freeing. It's forgetting about all that's difficult and what's annoying and hard about adult life or just life in general, and just taking that time out of your day or out of your week to just have fun. So when I'm on a hike, I'm like a child. A lot of my friends, a lot of loved ones often say that I'm like a child and that actually a little bit worse than a child because I just like having fun. I like to let loose. I let my inner child shine a lot. And I don't know the term in English. I think it's unashamedly. I unapologetically let my inner child shine, come out and play. And I find there's just something just so it makes it all that more enjoyable, and then it transfers into the rest of my day or my week. Kinda how I talked about when I go skiing, I have such a good time. I rarely have a bad day when I go downhill skiing, and a lot of times the following days are also very good days. And similar to when I let myself enjoy those things, so in the summertime, I do my best to enjoy walking around my neighborhood. I have a very, very nice there are a lot of very nice pathways and it's very safe to walk around and there's a lot of nice things to see. And I do my best to I do my best to enjoy what is offered to me for free. And it's not from a cheap perspective. It's more so from appreciating what you already have instead of seeking something in something that you don't have, which a lot of times I find are a little bit less healthy than the former. And I'm losing track of where I was going with that, so bear with me for a second. Yes, so in the summertime, and that's when I like to kind of turn it into this bigger thing that I like, which is sunset walks, walking with the dog or walking with a friend or just walking alone. Walking alone and listening to an audiobook or going on a ride around the sunset. As I've said before, I have a thing for sunsets and sunrises. So sunrise, sunset walks, and connecting with nature and connecting with my environment in the morning when I do a sunrise or pre-sunrise walk. I say good morning to so many people and it just makes me feel so happy. I don't know if it's this post pandemic craving of interacting with others. So, after experience being isolated during COVID with the different restrictions, it feels good to interact with other people, especially when you live alone. It can be very easy to and working from home, it can be very easy to get into a rut and to not socialize with other people. I don't know how I would be well without socializing with others. I understand some people are able to do that. I could not personally. That's just not what works for me. So, creating the space to interact with individuals that I don't typically interact with, I find makes my life a little bit more, not a little bit, I find it makes my life more rich. And it's something that I highly encourage others to give a try. Again, like I said before, it's not very comfortable at first. It can be quite uncomfortable. And maybe in the moment, the first time it's not comfortable and you might not enjoy it, but I don't want to promise. I don't want to make promises, but I would encourage others to try it at least once and to see what you learn and gain from it. A lot of the time that I do things alone, I take this opportunity to think about what I want for myself. I check in with myself. I check in on my goals, check in on my values. And when I'm alone, I feel I yearn to connect with some other people. And that reminds me, oh, I haven't spoken to this friend or that relative. And I might actually give them a call when I'm on a ride or while I'm walking or whatever it might be that I'm doing on my own. And although distance may separate us, it's not as much of a barrier. Another thing that I enjoy doing, not I don't love doing it alone, but it often happens that I end up doing it alone, is stargazing. I love looking at the sky at night. When the sky is clear, I do my best to take a little bit of time to look up at the sky and to feel small and to think about life, think about what I want, to think about what's truly important to me. Because as I'm thinking, as I'm standing there looking at the sky, I realize that the universe is so big and that I'm so, so, so small on Earth. And that puts things in perspective for me. The little things that I make a big issue in my mind are put into perspective, and I'm like, does it really matter? Or is it really worth me worrying about, I don't know. I can't think of something. How clean my car is. This is just the first thing that came up on my. Is it really worth spending so much energy on something so frivolous? And it's thinking about that there's more to life than what the daily routine and rat race shows you. So while thinking about what's actually important to me, I get to spend some time to plan and to reflect on how I want to make myself better and how I want to make my life better. In case I haven't mentioned it yet, I'm my lifelong mission is to continually grow and improve. I think that growth is never ending. I think that growth is very important to work on and to achieve and to achieve in life. And like I said before, growth it can be very uncomfortable, and doing things alone can also be uncomfortable. What's fun about doing sports on my own is I get to go as long or as short as I want to. So if I'm with somebody and I typically I'm a people pleaser, and I don't want to inconvenience the other person. So if they want to be done and I want to continue, I will. It's not the healthiest thing to do, but I will let my needs and preferences slide, and I often won't express them, which is something that I'm working on. But the point is, if I want to go shorter, if I want to go longer doing something, that frees me to do so when I do something alone. I find that it reduces the pressure, and I allow myself to. Oftentimes, I do more than what I anticipate doing because I immerse myself so much in whatever it is that I'm doing that maybe I might not necessarily do more, but I do more than I initially set out to do when I plan to go out. But it's being able to push myself and to learn that I can do more than what I feel like doing and than what I think I can do. If I'm thinking about cross country skiing, I'm often like, okay, a little bit more before I go back, because I go and then I head back a lot of the times. And it's knowing that if I don't feel good enough to continue, I don't feel like I'm holding somebody back, which is something that I'm often concerned about. And it's also nice to be able to do a little bit more if I want to do a little bit more. Although, to be very fair, for the most part, with the people that I spend the most time with, it's not a significant issue. It's just I create this issue for myself. In my mind, I create this problem for myself, and it's very annoying. It's very unhelpful, but it's the way that I am, and in doing activities alone, I get to free myself from that burden. And I actually enjoy going out to eat by myself. I don't enjoy eating out by myself, but I do it sometimes. It's not because I don't have somebody to go out to a restaurant with me that I'm not going to allow myself to go to treat myself to something that I want. For example, the message that I want to convey from in this episode is that it's so enriching and rewarding to do things on your own and to not let others' inability to join you on something you want to do prevent you from doing something that you want to do. And that there's that's one gain in and of itself. Beyond that is that you gain even more from growth, from spiritual and mental growth, and from spending time with yourself, mindfulness, and learning something about yourself that you might not have known otherwise. And also meeting new people that you probably would not have interacted with had you had somebody on your journey with you. So that's what I've gained. I think there's many other benefits to solo adventures, and I encourage you to try one out and to see what you discover that is beneficial to you. I encourage you to try something on your own. It can be as simple as going to the movies, going shopping, going out for ice cream, going to the gym, whatever it may be, doing something that you're used to doing with others to do alone, or that thing that you've always wanted to do and that you've been waiting to do with somebody else, go do it on your own and see how you feel. See how good it is after and see what was difficult also. It might not be all great, but to do that for yourself is something that I wish others I something is something that I very much wish for you. So I want to thank you for listening, and please feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications to be alerted when new videos are posted. I very much look forward to posting a new episode next month. Hopefully next month I will actually stick to it being on the first Monday or first Sunday of the month, to be determined. And until then, I invite you to connect with me on Instagram, on X, formerly Twitter, on TikTok. And you can find this podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on iHeartRadio. And I want to thank you for tuning into Cori's Corner. Stay curious, stay inspired, and always keep exploring. I'm your host, Cori, and this is Cori's Corner. Bye.